page. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another episode in our long-running series called the FlipLogic Real Estate Show, where we spend an hour doing Q&A or until all questions are exhausted, and we do it in a screen share format here, so you guys can all get a live look at what questions you have, if it pertains to a lead that you're working on or a deal that you're doing or something that we want to share. It gives us all live visual. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and just cut to our visual here of FlipLogic. And there we go. And for those of you who are joining us live, you can put your questions in the Q&A or chat box, and we'll get to them in the order that they're received. And with that being said, I'm joined here by my co-host, James. James, are you with us? He probably is, but let me unmute James. James.
Yep, I'm here.
There we go. Okay, beautiful. Okay, great. Well, with that being said, James and I will open up with some activity and some examples here, a live working example, and then we'll get to any questions as they appear in the chat box. So James, why don't you lead us into a lead that we can discuss or a deal that we can discuss? I wonder if I could actually even have you do a screen share. Are you able to share your screen?
I mean, possibly. I can give it a shot. Let me try. Here. I think it's host only is able to do that.
Let me see if I can do that so you can.
Yeah.
Okay. Now try it. Are you able to?
It says start video. More.
It'll actually be in new share. Do you see new share?
This will stop other screen sharing. Do you want to continue?
Yeah, there you go. So new share, and then what you'll do is you'll want to select your web browser. It'll be like a.
Yeah, let me close a couple of background files that are running. Maybe speed up my computer a little bit. I got a lot of proof of funds and all kinds of car forms and everything running. I think that'll boost the speed a little bit. All right, share screen. Share. I think that's it, right?
There you go. Yeah, we can see your screen. I'm looking at Zillow now.
Yeah, let me just drag this to the bottom there. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here. So I was working on this one a little bit today. Yeah, we sent some offers out on some condos today in La Jolla, but focusing on this one, and then maybe we'll talk about that one later. So a lead source of ours brought this lead back in November, and they were firm on their number of 1.6 million. And it was just something we couldn't touch on because the numbers were too far apart. As you can see here, our exit is 1.466 to get a 15% ROI.
Okay, so scroll up real quick so we can see the ARV. So the ARV on this is 1.925, which is 1,068 a foot, and the seller on this was asking 1.6.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this lead, is it on market or off market?
It's currently off market right now.
Okay, so it's off market. It's not on the MLS, and this is is this direct to consumer, or is this a pocket listing from an agent?
I would say it would be a pocket listing unofficially, and I say that as in like an agent has brought it to our attention, but they don't necessarily have a listing agreement.
Okay, well, I would consider that a pocket listing.
Right, exactly.
Typically, most pocket listings are like that. The agent doesn't even really have a written agreement with the seller. They just basically have a seller who's motivated or interested in selling and says, hey, if you can bring me an offer, then I'd be willing to pay you a commission. So that's typically most pocket listings. So we've got a pocket listing. Agents told you that, hey, seller wants 1.6. You ran, and this was last month that you got the lead. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. It's like November 26th.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So you got it last month in November. You plugged in the numbers. 1.6 obviously didn't make any sense because if your ARV is at 1.925, if it needs everything, and I know in most properties, everything is about 35 bucks a square foot, right? And you've got 55 bucks a foot in there. Obviously 35 bucks a foot, we're talking like a full rehab on, and let's just say it's a typical full rehab, right? A full rehab's like you need a new roof and you got, update the kitchen, update the bathrooms, update the flooring, paint, maybe some minor landscape, some minor electrical, minor plumbing, what have you, right? A full rehab, but we're talking like a median priced home, right? 35 bucks a foot, full rehab needs everything. Look, our ARV is far from median, isn't it? We're pushing 2 million.
Yeah.
So that makes sense why you wouldn't be at 35 bucks a foot. You're up closer to 55 bucks a foot.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is totaling a sorry, not to cut you off, but to finish my point here, that's totaling $100,000 in construction costs. And if you go to the property details, how big is this property? What's the square footage on it? Just curious.
1,800.
Okay, it's 1,800 square feet. Okay.
Yeah.
So back to your analysis. So 100,000 rehab. Okay, so go ahead, continue.
So, originally I had placed it at $50 a square foot, and I'll just go ahead and just change it here real quick. $50 a square foot, and it's 90,000. And 90,000 may very well cover it, but seeing as it's a nice high-end home, 90,000 is pretty close to 100. So, just bump it up 10,000, simply because it's
sure
a $2 million house. Might as well just put the extra 2,000 in there.
Sure. So that's a nice round number.
Yeah.
Okay. So now with that being said, you've got 2 months holding time in there. That seems, why'd you do 2 months? It seems pretty tight to me, but.
Right. And I did the 2 months because here's our comps, and our main comp that we're going to be using is this one, 3231 Coolidge. It's a 3.3. It's got one more bathroom, and it's got 140 more square feet and 250 more square feet on the lot. But it sold at 198 in October.
Okay.
Which brings our value obviously down, because we have to come down, because we're minus one bathroom, we're minus square footage on the house, living space, and we're minus square footage on the lot. So, a nice 70, $60,000, $55,000 cut off that is plenty enough. Maybe it'll sell at 1.9, but but getting into the timeline.
The timeline. Yeah.
The timeline is right here. So this is the same property, Coolidge.
Right.
we can flip through the pictures here in a minute, but the price history, it listed and it sold in less than 30 days.
Yeah.
So if we're going to take 30 days to do a rehab, which is what the rehabber will do, they'll take 30 days. And then once they list it, that's 2 months out. And this sold, almost 100,000 over, almost 200,000 over what they listed it at. So that's a good indicator to use. That means our properties in this area, if they're nice, they're moving pretty quick. And I'll flip through these pictures pretty slowly.
Yeah, in a hot seller's market, I mean, 60 days isn't out of the question. But yeah, that's if it's going to move, if the project's going to be done very efficiently, right? A 30-day rehab, and then it lists. I mean, then it's got to sell right away if it's going to close in another 30 days, and then obviously for it to be a 2-month turn. So that's definitely an efficient go, not much margin for error.
No, definitely not. But someone that knows what they're doing and they do, I mean, this is their business, they can get in there and turn a property around quickly. They, especially houses like this, they'll get in there and get the job done quick.
All right, so this house looks like it doesn't even look like it was kind of didn't even look
impressive.
That upgraded to me. Wasn't that modern?
No, it wasn't.
All right.
But it's a nice safe.
Point. Right. So I see your point on the 2 months. If you could go back to the Analyze tab, and then go back to the Analyze tab, and then maybe. So all right. So last month they wanted 1.6. So why are we talking about this one now?
Because they actually sent me an email today saying they want to review all offers and that they're very motivated to sell. And I since replied with, and I'm waiting for a reply back, what's the motivation, why, is there a lowest number that the sellers would consider, trying to get a feel before I put a number out. And what Ryan said to me is stuck for a long time is whoever speaks the number first loses, in a sense,
right?
Because that's the number to go off of. So I try to get a low number out of them first before I put my initial offer in, which was like 1,285. I round up my numbers because I like both round numbers. It's just more aesthetic, more. And so since I sent that number out, I'm still waiting for my email to ring back, but he said the worst thing that can happen is we get a counter offer. And so it sounds like they've reached a point of motivation, that they just want to move it. So we'll see in the next couple of days. We're gonna that starts that puts our foot in the door for to start negotiations. And negotiations can take, it can take a couple of days, and then we start getting more interested in putting some ink on paper and getting a deal done.
Okay, so our target exit price, should we wholesale this, is going to be 1,466, right? That's the max rehab price that a rehabber would want to pay. That's the max rehab price. If you're going to rehab it, that's the max you'd want to pay, because that leaves you a 15% ROI, 90% annualized, but 15% over the project, which is 2 months. which is great, especially 90% annualized. I mean, 8 to 10% of the stock market is what, people hope to get. So to do a project and make 90% annualized, I mean, is incredible. It's obviously 10 times that. And the reason why 15% is you're over $1 million ARV, typically under $1 million ARV, 10% is usually satisfactory, but the more capital, the more risk, and typically you need a bigger margin. So 15% is pretty attractive usually. So that will leave a net rehab profit of $250. And so did you submit an offer yet, or are you still waiting to hear back on a verbal bottom number that the seller will accept? Where are you at with that?
Well, the verbal bottom number that he countered at was just to send something over, and if we get a counter, that's the worst thing that can happen. So I sent over an email just at 1285, and I'm waiting for a reply back. I sent that email I don't know, 20 minutes ago.
Okay, so then you decided to go with the initial cash offer, 1285, and was that just a verbal by email, or was it a written offer?
A verbal by email.
Sorry, you cut out. Say that again.
I said it was just a verbal by email. I've spoken with a guy a couple of times before on a couple of other deals, but they just didn't pan out. Seller was just asking too much money. So
got it. So you gave him a verbal. You said, hey, if the seller would consider 1285, we'd be willing to write it up.
Yeah. I'll just give you a picture of our comps here.
You've got more than 3. It's well supported. So it definitely takes all of the guesswork out of whether that 1925 is obtainable. And actually, the other nice thing is once if you put in pretty close comps and then you select them, and then actually if you hit that red text using overridden value, go ahead and click that. It'll actually calculate the average ARV from those comps. So James just hit it, so it calculated. Obviously, the average, it's just an average, right? There can be other things in there that it doesn't take into consideration, views, pools, anything like that. That's why it's important that the comps that are in there and selected are as comparable as possible. So when you hit that, it created an average by the price per square foot. So it came up with 1.88.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So.
But from the most recent comps and from your adjustments, you came up with 1925.
Yeah. These are our 2 most recent comps right here. And they're all within a good parameter.
Right. Do me a favor, just out of curiosity, uncheck the ones that aren't as comparable. So just leave the 2 that you're really giving heavy weight to, leave those selected and uncheck the rest.
Okay. Let me see here.
Just uncheck on the left side.
Yeah, of course. No, I when I do these things, I like to organize by date. And you can see the stuff
put the most recent sales up to the top.
Right. I unchecked this one because it's 0.3 miles away. Even though it's most recent, it's far away, and it's got 1 extra bed and 1 extra bath and 200 more square feet. That's why I unchecked that one.
Yeah, that one's definitely not as comparable for sure.
This one versus this one, these 2 would be a tough decision. But
all right, we'll leave those checked. Leave those both checked, and now let's go up and click the text up above, and let's get our average. just to see what it averages it out to be. All right, so it says 186.
Yeah.
Is the average between the three selected. All right.
Yeah.
And then you're at 1925. What was the third one you were going to maybe uncheck if you're going to uncheck one?
You know, let's go ahead and pull them up, and we can take a look a little bit further. I'm pulling up these two. These, obviously this one's going to stay, but it's going to be between these two. Obviously, this one got 215, and this one's 1.7. I'm thinking this 1.7 was as is original. Yeah, and this is the 215. Sorry, I flipped through pictures really quick because I got the eye for it now. The roof is nice and done. I guess the brick can be okay. It's all right. The interior looks amazing. Obviously, the kitchen's been redone. Looks really nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. It's vaulted ceilings and at least in the common area, and it's just an open floor plan with looks like a garage conversion into like a little attached dwelling unit.
I believe this is the garage right here, but it looks,
it converted it into an attached dwelling unit. Okay, so that's sold for 215, 1960 square feet. That's
the roof is nice here. I don't like the bars on the windows.
This is our subject.
Though. It looks. No, this isn't. This is not the subject. This is the other comp that sold for 1.7. Nice vaulted ceilings, but it's not. It's kind of two-tone. It doesn't really match very well. The floors are probably original wood. They haven't been refinished.
Or they might have been refinished, but they're just original. But yeah, the other one's definitely more modern.
Yeah, and these are all the pictures we got. I mean, it's got a nice roof to it, so it wouldn't need any roof work. But you know, if they fix this one up, and we can actually,
it's definitely lacking the curb appeal that the other one has. So I can see why. What did that one sell for?
1.7.
See why the other one's definitely your other comp is the most improved. So
yeah.
So get rid of that one. Throw that one out.
Yeah, it needs some cleaning up here.
I can already tell, and you can see why it's so important to dig into the comps to see what's finished. You know what the finishes are, because just because something's been improved doesn't mean it was that recent or done well. With a good theme or a good design theme and good materials and layout and everything. So okay, so now that we got rid of the 1.7, which obviously wasn't as improved as our 2.15.
Yeah. And
you average those two together, now we're up at 1.9. So Coolidge was the one that was done really nicely, and is Federal done as nice? Or sorry, Federal was the one that was done really nicely. Is Coolidge done as nice?
I don't believe so. I believe it's still well kept.
Yeah. No, I mean even those colors on the yeah.
Right. I mean the kitchen's been redone. Some stuff has been redone in here. The top is kind of tacky, but
was the other one a flip? Was the 2.15 sale a flip?
You know what?
Because this one looks like it was lived in for a while, and this one on Federal, that one looks like it was
May have been flipped.
Looks like it looks like a flip.
Possibly.
It'd be interesting to see. No, I mean, it was a 3-year. And also this one was listed. Wow, went pending and then closed.
Yeah.
So I would go with this one. I would heavily, because you could probably, I would heavily weight this one over the others, just because this one was done really nicely and you can see what the potential of this one is versus the others.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So I would say I would say, can we see a street view of our subject?
Yeah.
You actually click on the marker there. Yeah. I wonder if it's got a similar, because we don't have any online photos or anything, do we?
No, I don't believe so. I believe all we got is street view and aerial view.
Okay. It'd be interesting to see if this is a similar floor plan to our.
Wow.
It's a corner
lot
lot.
Of trees there. Yeah.
And that one's got an attached garage, doesn't it? Looks like it over there to the right.
I believe so. I don't think this is the right property. It's giving us a view from that side where all the trees are. This is the house right there. So.
Which one's the subject?
It's gonna be this one right here. 3101.
Yeah, wrapped around with trees. Man, it's got a lot of trees.
Yeah, it's just got.
Which can be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, all the trees on the property, I would say most of them need to come out. And I say most just to give it a better curb appeal. It's like look across the street, it's just.
Can you go to an aerial?
Gives a little bit of.
Can you go to an aerial? I'd like to see if it's an attached garage or if it's a detached. Because the other thing about the 215 comp is it had a detached garage that they turned into an attached dwelling unit. They turned it into like a little back guest retreat.
Yeah. I mean, that can be good and bad.
Well, in LA, it's actually. I mean, I think it's a huge positive because it's all living square footage now. He turns that garage into valuable living square footage. Yeah, you can't really tell from that. It's just covered in trees. All right.
Yeah.
Well, and also the California oak, you cannot just have removed. It's a protected tree, so that would be the other question for the seller is if the trees on site are California oaks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, I would say leave it at the 1925 because if it looks like you have an attached garage, so you're not going to be able to achieve the same flow as that other 215 comp.
Yeah.
the one next to it has got a detached garage, but it looks like your subject doesn't.
No,
Okay.
it does.
Well, anyway, so the numbers on that look pretty good. You know, I could even see it getting 2 million based, you know, if you finish it right versus the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the garage there.
Yep. Yeah, it looks attached.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, then
But
I'm going to take a look and see if we've got any questions here for anybody.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions that any, maybe a lead or a deal or just a question that they've got on something that they'd like to go over? And if so, let us know, because I'm looking at the chat box and I don't see anything in there at the moment. But that was a great breakdown, James. Thanks for doing that. And yeah, I think the numbers on that look pretty good. So you'll come in at your 1,285 number and then work your way up.
yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, guys, I think that's it. I think that's a wrap. We broke down and covered that lead from a motivated seller, and I don't have any other questions in the chat box or Q&A. So that would mean that we've exhausted all of that. So unless anybody has anything they'd like to bring up, we'll close out this evening. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again, same time, same place next Monday. And if you would like us to do this a few times a week, we are thinking about maybe bringing in another day to do this 2 times a week. So maybe we'll do this like Monday, Wednesdays. So if that's something that sounds good to you, let us know. And I think I'd like to do it 2 times a week anyway. So let us know. And if not, we'll see you again here, same time, same place next Monday at 6:30. Thanks, everybody.